Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm gonna be reacting to a video called How Stupid Americans Really Are. Okay, so let's see what fresh hells await us. I'm scared. So let's check it out and comment, like, and subscribe.
Look, I know a lot of people give Americans a bum rap for being stupid and knowing nothing about the world, but the reality couldn't be further from the truth, as I discovered on the streets here, asking US locals about the very world their country runs. Name a country that begins with U.
Yugoslavia?
With you,
Well-
Utah.
A country that
Why silent?
starts with a U. Utopia.
Who is in the coalition of the willing?
No freaking idea.
Afghanistan, Kuwait.
Iraq, Pakistan, you know,
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
What religion are Buddhist monks?
Buddhist monks.
It's not.
Islam, I don't know.
Who won the Vietnam War?
We did.
And who is,
Wait, were we even in the Vietnam War? Okay, good.
who is Fidel Castro?
A singer.
How many
Oh.
sides does a triangle have?
Damn, 4.
There's no sign.
It's so funny because the triangle one, like, it says so right in the name.
1.
What is the currency used in the United Kingdom?
What's the currency?
Actually, I love that woman. She was like, and the other was like,
In the United Kingdom.
What is it? The United Kingdom? I don't know.
Possibly American money.
Queen Elizabeth's money? That's all I know.
Name a country that begins
I'm gonna need a second. Hold on. Like, what is United Kingdom? What is United Kingdom? And like Queen Elizabeth's money? What?
with U.
A country?
Yeah.
You're
What
in
about
one.
this one?
What?
United States of America. In terms of the war on terror, who do you think should be the next country to invade?
Saudi Arabia.
Somebody in the Middle East.
We'll make a big glass crater out of the fucking Middle East for all I care.
I'm thinking
That man needs to chill. Like a lot.
Italy.
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 Cuba.
Yeah.
Iran.
Iran. Why is that?
Why?
I think there's a revolution going on pretty soon.
Russia,
That
China,
happened.
India and Pakistan.
Indonesia, Brazil.
Korea.
Korea. Yeah. Why do you say that?
They're trouble.
They're trouble. Yep. Okay. What's trouble about them?
Which one?
Their attitude.
Canada.
Sri Lanka? Right here. Ah. Never heard of it.
Iran.
Never heard of it. Okay.
Okay. All right. Do you want to put a number 1 in Iran there?
South. Where am I?
They can't put Iran on a map.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
In like Australia.
North Korea.
Okay.
North Korea. Why do you think North Korea?
Nuclear.
Nuclear.
Yeah.
Probably France.
In Australia.
Oh, because of they weren't our
All right.
allies.
Put number 2 on France. Why would you say France? Yeah.
What's up with everyone putting Australia?
Between France and the United States.
Where do you think the best place to invade Iran would be from? Think it'd be from the north or the south or the east or the west?
I think if you're the east.
West.
You know, this is amazing.
I bet they can't even point like north and west on a map, and that's why they were like thinking about this so strongly. They were like, which one's west and which one's east?
Because I just realized just now that North Korea is a lot larger than South Korea. I didn't know it was that large like that.
Nan is a drink, true or false?
Coffee's a drink.
Coffee and what?
It sounds like a law firm.
Okay,
Oh
who's
my
Tony
god.
Blair?
I don't even know.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Any guess?
Any guess? Skater?
Tony Blair is an actor.
Linda Blair's brother?
Which countries are in the axis of evil?
I know Germany's one of them. I'm not sure on the other ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
California.
A country?
New
Okay.
York.
Jerusalem.
Right.
Jerusalem.
Okay. There's more than one.
I think all of them.
Florida.
All of them.
Okay.
What?
I'm a little bit mixed up with the Palestinians and the Israelis.
Oh my.
Okay, which one is throwing the rocks?
Oh my
I
god.
can't think of the other name of the other one. The fellow with the turban thing, and I call it a diaper head, really.
Oh my god, this is so
I
offensive.
believe Mississippi.
Who was the first man on the moon?
John Glenn.
Armstrong walked on the moon, but I think it was a Russian. I'm not sure.
Well, I gotta tell you, some people don't believe that happened. They believe that was reincarnated in Arizona somewhere.
What is a mosque?
Don't have any idea.
You want to
Okay.
An animal.
I have no intelligence
They're confusing mosque with mosquito, right?
guess.
guess? Okay. Do you want to make a stupid guess?
How many kidneys does a person have?
One.
What is collateral damage?
Well, they just made a film about it, but that's definitely not what it is. It probably has something to do with what the movie was about,
What?
but not necessarily related to the movie. Do you know what I mean?
How many world
No.
wars have there been?
3.
Which state does KFC come from?
What, the chicken? I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay,
It's kind of silly. I'm sorry, but like it says in the name, and you're an American. Like, what do you like? Just say it out loud.
Do you know what KFC
Kentucky.
stands for?
Kentucky Fried Chicken, right?
Star Wars is based on a true story. True or false?
True story. Sure.
What are Hiroshima and Nagasaki famous for?
What is it, judo wrestling?
How many?
I want to be incredibly mean about this. This old guy, like, you were alive for probably 2 of those wars, so this is kind of unforgivable of him not knowing these things.
Eiffel Towers are there in Paris? I say about 10.
What?
Where was the Berlin Wall? In Latin America is Latin. True or false?
The what?
The word.
Believe me, I don't know the answer to this question, but I'm thinking.
Okay.
Okay. Sure. This was, again, I try to be like nice about this. I don't think I can be nice about this. I do not know. These people were, I have no words. I think like some of them, like, I don't know, I try to like think of like excuses for people sometimes, because it's like, well, like, you don't really know about like everyone's reality and you know, like their own life, so you don't really know like what kind of like education they've had, or I don't know, like their life circumstances, and you don't really know. So I think you should really just like put yourself like in their shoes, and maybe sometimes like you again like see the world from their shoes and from their perspective and their viewpoint, so maybe you would understand why they do not know like certain things. And it's true, like we're not like, you know, we're not all like social like politics like analysts. I don't know, like you don't really know like everything about the world. You know, it's understandable, like nobody knows one of those things, or unless like maybe you're like, I don't know, like you work in that field, or I don't know, you're like super knowledgeable about a lot of things. But a lot of these things are like, these are like easy questions. So it is, you know, like I'm not trying to ask you like about, I don't know, like, you know, like super like hard, like, I don't know, like some really hard questions. Like those are like incredibly easy. Like again, and I know that this looked quite old, like this does not look obviously like a recent video. So maybe like I can maybe forgive them a little bit just by, well, you know, maybe like there was like no internet back in those days. So maybe people were like a little bit less informed. But I would argue, actually, that maybe people should have been like more informed, like, you know, a bunch of years ago, because you had like the news and stuff, and people were like watching more TV. I think these days, even though you're sort of like more informed about a lot of things because of like just like social media, I think like at the same time, I think maybe people today in this day and age maybe are a little bit less, you know, like have their finger on the pulse, because everything like can be so maybe like isolating to your own sort of like, I don't know, your because the algorithm tends to like feed you like stuff about your own, what you're interacting with. So maybe a lot of these things, like maybe I don't really understand like what's happening, like, or maybe I have no idea what's happening like on the opposite side of the world if I'm not, you know, if my algorithm is not feeding this into me. So maybe I can, maybe that's again a little bit of like an excuse for like, maybe a lot of people right now don't really have to be like, maybe are less knowledgeable about certain things. But back in those days, like you didn't have that. So like the news and the newspapers and the actual like news stations were probably like broadcasting a lot of like this sort of like conflicts and what was happening like around the world. So I'm like, okay, open a newspaper. Like, I don't know, again, and maybe like, again, some things like, I don't know, they like, some conflicts that were a little bit like more complicated to actually to grasp, to understand. But some of those things were like, who's Tony Blair? Like, you should know this, right? Like, again, it's like the equivalent of like, again, it's like, who's the president of the United States? Like, you should know that. Or, you know, because again, they're like, they're big countries. Like, you should know who their prime ministers were. Or, you know, what language they speak, like, again, in Latin America. Although, again, not all the countries actually speak the same. Like, you would think, they all speak, like, Spanish. Not necessarily. Some countries do not speak Spanish. but you know, big picture, yeah, sure. Like those things are like just like cultural things. The Israel question, like, oh, which, like, I think, what was the question? Like, what religion, like, is like, do they have in Israel? Again, like, if you know, like, world history, like, you would know, yes, you know, like, the whole, like, creation, the concept of the state of Israel is closely tied to their religion. So, you should know that. So, it's kind of crazy that they're like, oh, Catholic, like, Muslim? It's like, okay, so you have no idea about, like, anything in the world, absolutely anything. And it's not just like about recent conflicts. No, you just do not know like the history of like world history, like history of the world, history of the planet. Like you don't know those things. And I'm like, okay, Americans like, yes, you do have the whole, and even like the money one. What's the UK? What's the United Kingdom? That one's okay. What's the United Kingdom? Well, great question. But it's not just that. It's like, again, I'm like, okay, maybe like those are like world history, and like again, like people I think have this concept of like Americans really do think like they're the center of the universe and everything has to like cater to them and be, you know, I should expect, what I'm going with this is maybe I should expect them to be more knowledgeable probably about like, you know, their own like US history. So I would expect like the answers to questions like, oh, who won like the Vietnam War? And the woman was like, were we even in that war? It's like, yes, very famously, yes. So they don't really like, she just doesn't even know that question. The whole, like the KFC one, like Kentucky Fried Chicken, oh, where is that? It's like, again, those are like American questions. Like those are like very US centric questions. Who was the first man to walk on the moon? And the guy was like, one of them, can't remember, was a guy or a woman, was like, oh, it was like, I think it was Armstrong, not even a name. And then was like, maybe he was Russian. It's like, okay, so you don't even know, like, you guys, like, yes, the US won that conflict, you know, the Cold War, well, not Cold War, but yeah, the race to space. You don't know anything about this. The US actually won, and you don't know that. So that was like the most shocking part of this video to me. Like the fact that they don't even know like stuff that I think most, like if I'm going by the cliche, oh yes, you know, Americans are like so self-centered, they should know like all about their own sort of like history, especially things that they sort of like won and they succeeded at. You know, you would expect them to know these things because it's like, oh, it's a sense of pride, right? Oh, we were the first like to walk on the moon, we conquered space. So it's like not even that. The guy that was like, I don't even know, like, was he on something? I don't know. The old guy that, I'm sorry, I try to, again, I'm not trying to be mean, but he looked like quite an older guy, and it's like, you were, I bet you were alive for like 2 of these wars. Maybe not 2, maybe I'm being like extremely, like I'm overestimating his age. So maybe like, again, maybe like the Second World War, like you were definitely alive but in that time period. So like, I'm not telling you, oh, did you serve? Yeah, no, I didn't serve, but like I knew what it was. Like I was a kid. I don't know, I lived it. I lived that time period. Like, shouldn't you know that? Like, shouldn't you know these things? Like, shouldn't like your, I don't know, your grandparents, your parents like taught you about like the first one? I don't know. And even like I think he was the same guy that he didn't even know like, oh, what was like the atomic bomb, or like what was Nagasaki? And he was like, I don't know, like, you don't know, seriously, like what? I don't know. This like this mind blowing in not a good way, like in the worst possible way. Like I can't believe the questions to this, like especially I think the ones that I'm like the Al Qaeda ones, like again those questions I would assume like the baseline to me, like I think like the base is like the baseline to me, and the like the bare minimum to me when it comes to like those questions about the Middle East and Al Qaeda and all of that. I'm not expecting, just because of like the US history, I'm not expecting a random person on the street to give me like a right answer, appropriate answers, non-offensive answers. I don't know, just because I know, you know, because of the whole US history, I'm like, okay, historically, like they're like the random American does not really like is, oh, why should I, you know, if I want to know, like, can you explain this, like the, I don't know, like conflicts in the Middle East or something about the Middle East, I wouldn't go specifically to like an American random person on the street to actually like have an accurate sort of like point of view or an accurate opinion about this, just again because of like the history. But those questions, even again for like, I'm expecting the worst, it's like, wow, you managed to achieve this. Like the base was here, like that was like, this is the bare minimum, and you managed to like go down below that. It's like, what? Like people were just like, I don't know if they were like on something. I don't know. Were they playing it up for the camera? Were they nervous? I don't know, because even if they're nervous, I'm like, this is not an excuse. The guy that I think they were asking countries, and he just started naming like California, and I don't know, I can't remember the others. Like, you're just naming U.S. states? What? And also like a quite shocking video. Like, one shocking part about this video as well is the whole fact that everyone just like pointed like they had to like point at North Korea. Well, they didn't have to point specifically to like North Korea. It was North Korea, or even like Korea in general. I don't think they were even like mentioned in South or like just or North. It's just like Korea in general, or like Iran or the other countries. Like, they were just like point them in a map. It's like where would we like invade these people? And like the one that was like Sri Lanka, and she was like, I have never heard of this in my life. It's like, okay, you've never heard of like Sri Lanka, like the country, you've never heard of this. But again, what I was going with this is that they all like seem to point at Australia on the map. Like I think some of them point at New Zealand, or it was Australia or New Zealand, but again, like that part of the world, like Oceania. So it was like, why? What's up with that? Like, can you explain it to me? Well, it's gotta be something, because it was like way too much. Like, it's a coincidence, like maybe 2 people, but like I think it was like 3 people that just like named the point at Korea on a map, or Sri Lanka or Iran, and like 4 different countries, and they were like, here, and it's like Australia or New Zealand. It's like, what? Did you just maybe they think like, oh, it's so far away from us, and the farthest like place you can imagine is like that area of the world. If I show you a map, you're like, yeah, there. It's like, why? It's like when you think of like something so foreign to you, as in, oh, sure, we're invading the Middle East, or we are, or like, oh, North Korea, like I've heard like it's a very problematic country, and it's all like very far from our country. So I would, if I look at the map and I look at the United States, and I'm like, oh, well, what's the farthest thing from here? Okay, sure, like go to that corner. It's like, okay, sure. And it's not even that, because it's like, well, I know that Australia, it's technically a very like, it's a very far away country. Yes, it's one of the most isolated sort of like places if you're not from that part of the world. So maybe that's why it's like they think that area is like very, I don't know, unexplored, or maybe like, oh, it's like quite isolated. So maybe that's why they think this. But I don't know, maybe it was something cultural that I'm missing, that people were thinking that everything was like, I don't know, everything was located in Australia. I don't know, just like people should like really pay more attention in like geography class, you know. And the whole like coffee and one, well, oh, it's drink, yeah, sure, it's coffee. Like, okay, you've actually never, this tells me like your cultural level is so low that you've never opened like a newspaper in your life. Or again, just, I don't know, because they don't teach you this at school, but you should know who Kofi Annan was, just as you should know who Tony Blair is. Like, come on, these people are like crazy, not in a good way. This was awful to me. Like, I can't believe people are that dumb. So how stupid Americans really are? Yes, that's not even a question, but I'm like, yes, absolutely. I'm sorry, this video proves it. Unless you're playing up for the camera, like, I'm scared for society, basically. I'm scared. I want to know actually where they are. It would be a good thing. Like, hey, where are they now? You know, have they improved? Like, I would love to show them this video, like, in this moment in time. Like, hey, do you remember when you did this? Are you more knowledgeable now, or is it worse? Like, actually, I'm kind of scared if it's actually, I would assume, like, think most of these people were like, no, it's worse these days. Or maybe I know, maybe they had a change of heart and they're like, well, you know what? I think maybe I should read more on the state of affairs, of current affairs, and just like cultural things, and maybe just things that you should know as a human living in the world and living on planet Earth. Maybe those are kind of things, that basic things that I think maybe everyone should probably learn. But that was it for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.